That's fucking creepy.
Yeah.
Whoa.
A paranormal team did go in and investigate. They got audio of somebody talking in the attic. But yeah, they went in. By the way, it was 2010. I want to say because they went while I was still there.
Oh, while you're still there.
Yeah, like it was a cool event. I mean, I remember sitting there, like everybody's talking about, like, oh my god, we have a big. Yeah, honestly, cool. I think it was Ghost Hunters.
I'm not sure. Was it like a crude, like a TV crew?
Yeah, it was a full crew.
Wow, that's
so
cool.
TV crew and everything. Like I said, I want to say it's Ghost Hunters.
Yeah,
I might be wrong on that one, but yeah.
Well, there's like cool. 3 or 4 of them at the time. So
yeah. I mean, and like that's just one of the haunts in Plattsburgh, but
yeah, that's pretty cool.
It was always cool, and it's a beautiful dorm, by the way.
Well, it's cool that you have a connection to it there too, because you went to the school. So that's pretty cool. Oh shit.
You got another one?
I want to go because I have to make a correction.
Go.
Because I mixed up on my notes.
Yeah, that's right.
For mess up number 2
on my notes. This is why we don't do notes.
That's right.
We mess them up.
That's right. So it's not the Roberson that was designed by the same guy.
Okay.
It's the Phelps Mansion.
Oh, Phelps.
Right across the street.
We're right across the street, though.
Right across the street. See how that works?
Yeah.
So that's why I was confused. I went to 11:02 when the party was actually at 11:01.
And you didn't hear the music blaring next door.
Exactly. See? So instead, I ended up playing
Story of his life.
Now, yeah, I know the Phelps Mansion is also one that is said to be have high activity.
Right. Well, that's another one that was designed around the same time, commissioned by a local businessman. And I'll just run through some of the stuff that people have said has happened there.
Yeah.
Now, these are all buildings that are like working on 200 years old.
Oh, they're old.
So, that's what we're dealing with here. So, it's now open up for, I think, events like weddings and shit. So
yeah, we're not looking at there.
Yeah. Well, it's a beautiful building. It was recently redone. So here are the things that people say have gone on there. Candles moving around on their own. There are elevators because it's a multi-floor building going up and down by themselves. Yeah. People talking on corridors and there's no one there. Doors slamming. There's one instance where an employee said while they were on a tour, I think, doing a tour, like a metal fireplace bar flew out at her.
Jesus.
Yeah. So, like, an actual object was...
Oh, they're rude ghosts.
Yeah.
They're just fucking rude.
Yeah.
Right. And hands on clocks, like, because they have antique clocks in there that no longer work, moving on their own.
All of a sudden working.
And changing time.
Yeah.
Those broken clocks are right more than twice a day. Those broken clocks are right more than twice a day.
That's actually pretty good.
You got another one, Sam?
Well, mine kind of shifts from ghost stories and more into...
Let's jump into the dimensional rift.
Yeah, well, first there was this place I found called Pine Bush. It is down in the Catskills, New York, Appalachian, Hudson Valley area. And this is a place that has been known for high UFO activity and strange creature sightings and
also a lot of drinking.
Well, yeah, it is Hudson Valley, New York, so there's not too much else going on other than like forest land and drinking. So yeah, unfortunately now this area has like a lot of condos and places have come in and used up all the farmland where a lot of these sightings have happened. But back in the day, there was a lot of weird sightings of boomerang or very thinly shaped UFOs in the sky, and over 2,000 sightings that this happened within a couple of weeks' time. And ever since then, there has been weird shit happening in this town. Places coming up things coming up missing. People hearing stuff, seeing weird creatures that multiple accounts have these creatures moving like in still photograph frames, not smoothly like you would see a normal person
like
walking,
somebody
but
yanked every third frame out of
right,
video.
Exactly. So it was this like scattershot image of these things, and it was just weird stuff like that, and a lot of like paralysis stories where people would say they woke up and they couldn't move. Only thing they could do was move their eyes, and it was like either blinding light or crushing darkness. It was always those two things. And within these dark and light realms, people would feel like getting poked, prodded, or they feel like their skin's on fire, or somebody's raking over things. They could hear voices. So really weird shit like that out of this town, Pine Bush. And I guess over the years, it was kind of low key. Everyone was kind of afraid to embrace the strangeness of the town. Somebody did an expose on weird alien sightings across the United States and featured this town in one of the books. And ever since then, this was like back in the 80s or something like that, the town has kind of come to embrace it. So if you go down there now, it's kind of like Roswell, New Mexico, where diners and barbershops and people kind of embrace that weird shit happens in this town.
Now, the thing about the waking up and all that and being unable to move, this does, I do want to put out, there is a medical condition. I'm not a doctor.
Sleep paralysis, though,
sleep paralysis is a common name. I don't know the actual,
it's some weird,
technical. I am not a doctor by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah.
Anyways, but what happens with this is sometimes when you wake up, your brain is still emitting the chemical that makes it so you don't move in your sleep.
Right.
You are fully awake, but your brain is telling your body that you are asleep. Mm-hmm. And that this chemical exists so that when we're dreaming, we're not like walking around like slamming into walls and like stabbing people or stuff. Which could happen.
Well, that's what sleepwalking is.
And this is what sleepwalking is. Yeah. And one of the things that happens commonly is when you wake up with sleep paralysis, because your mind is still active but you can't move and you can see your room, you will start to hallucinate just these god-awful things like reapers and aliens.
This is where shadow people come in.
Shadow people. And it's because your brain is trying to cope with this idea of, I can't move, I can see my room, I think I'm dreaming, but maybe I'm not dreaming, and just the innate terror inside somebody.
Well, it's so easy to tether a supernatural explanation to that.
Well, not just the explanation, but no, that's where you will actually see it. You'll hallucinate it because your subconscious will go, "Oh shit, this must be actually happening," and trying to put something on that fear.
Well, it's the same. It's the same chemical that your brain releases when you die. Actually,
This has happened to me before, where I've woken up and I can't move, and then all of a sudden there's this old woman's face like directly in front of my face, and that's when I fully wake up. I can move around and I start screaming,
right? That's when
and wake up my wife, and she gets pissed off at me.
By the way, I was very good there. I really wanted to interject a joke, but I didn't, so I was very good.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Thanks. You set me up perfectly, but I'm just proud of myself that I did it.
All right. So, Agent Amy also has a very chilling story about the Vestal Rail Trail. So, take it away, Agent Amy.
Hi, everyone. This is Agent Amy, and I'm here to tell you a little story about a haunted place in Vestal, New York called the Rail Trail. The Rail Trail in Vestal, New York is now a very popular attraction site for many bikers, hikers, and dog walkers, but very few pedestrians think twice about the history of our beloved walking trail. On June 8th, 1901, Lackawanna Western Freight Train number 61 had stopped to take on water. Not an unusual occurrence with the steam engine. But during that time, a double-header freight train was hurtling towards the stopped train. Now, a normal train accident can be disastrous, but there was one slight detail that elevated this wreck to catastrophic. Number 61 was transporting 5 tons of dynamite. The engineer of the Wildcat applied the brakes and blew the whistle, but it was too late. He leapt from the moving locomotive seconds before impact, leaving the Wildcat to collide and sealing the fate of 5 railroad workers, including 3 of his own. The explosion was so intense that parts of the engines were catapulted into the air and found half a mile away from the explosion site. Windows in both the town of Vestal and the adjacent town of Union were blown out of their frames due to the severity of the blast, and the sound of the explosion was reportedly heard up to 8 miles away from the city of Binghamton all the way through the town of Appalachian. Today, all that remains of the Lackawanna train wreck is a plaque placed a quarter of a mile from the beginning of the trail, although several locals have claimed to still hear the sounds of the explosions reverberating to this day.
Thanks, Amy. There was a huge explosion with the fucking train. Killed, I don't remember how many. Yeah, they killed a bunch of people.
A lot of people died.
A lot of people died.
A lot of people.
You got another
So
one?
yeah, let's head back to Green to the Baron's Inn.
Yeah, I'd like to know that one.
There's been orbs, translucent balls of light that appeared in photography and in some supposed places, but apparently the Baron's Inn is one of the big ones around this area.
Yeah.
Stories and tales. One of the most haunted places is the Baron's Inn on Route 12 in Green. It was closed for a time period.
I was going to say, this was closed for a while, wasn't it?
It was closed for a while while deals were being struck. New ownership happened, and the new owners pretty much revamped everything. I haven't been inside, but the outside has been all revamped.
Yeah.
A new siding. They've got a fountain out there, and it looks great.
Probably really done it up then.
Yeah, they really did.
Which, by the way, if you'd like to see some pictures, I just checked WBNG.com, which was our local news that went up there.
Yeah, two morning reporters a few years ago went up there and did kind of a ghost tour.
Yep,
Oh.
and they went with expert paranormal investigator Bill Lenga and sensitive Mary Ann Downing. If you search Baron's Inn on WBNG's website, you can find the stories
That'll
about
pop
it.
up. That's right. I forgot they did that.
If you're interested in looking a little more into it. Sorry, I just wanted to...
No, it's fine. It
interject
was
that.
actually in the article that I was reading, too.
Oh, that's cool.
I don't... no, they don't have the link in here, but...
Have you been to this place at all?
Baron's Inn? Yeah, I did some carpentry work, some plumbing work, and I worked as a busboy for one night. I used to know the old owner.
Oh,
I did a lot of contract work for him. So I'd get fed. We'd get done with the job and we'd go back to Barron's and I'd get a burger and fries.
Oh man!
But
so
I
good right now.
never knew. I knew about the Sherwood, the hauntings in the Sherwood, but I never knew anything about the Baron's Inn being haunted.
Yeah.
Apparently there was one of those guys, handyman, that died there, and he roams the halls. Somebody died in the attic. There's another person that
there's a
hung
little
themselves. Yeah, the invisible little girl.
I think she was the one from the attic.
I think it was the guy from the attic, and there was a little girl that ran out in the road or something, got hit, and there was somebody else that hung themselves. So a lot of paranormal
In that
activity
place?
around this place.
They hung themselves in the.
They hung themselves in a tree outside.
Oh, okay.
But there's been a lot of orbs. The two reporters got photographs of orbs. Apparently, one of the ghosts does not like female bartenders because glasses and things keep falling off the counters and off the racks every time there's a female bartender there. So
Wow.
yeah,
Sexist ghost.
sexist ghost. This is another old building. Green itself was established in like 1789.
Hey. Don't excuse the ghost's bad behavior. They're assholes.
If they're stuck in the time period,
don't care. They're
and
assholes.
the mind
Call them
frame
assholes.
that they died in.
Look, a ghost Nazi is still a Nazi.
It's a valid point.
You do have a point there.
Yeah, I'll agree with that one.
Yeah, another one, Wave.
No, that was it.
Just
As normal, I did shit with my homework. So
I got one more that I wanted to say. There's this place up in because the Pine Bush alien stuff led me to this one. It's more of like an ancient evil legend where it's called the Gravitational Tempest in Lake George, New York.
I've been there. It's a great place.
Yeah. The actual Gravitational Tempest?
No,
Yeah.
Lake George.
Lake George. Beautiful place. Beautiful place.
yeah, you gotta specify here.
So, local Native American legends speak of a spot located in Lake George where an ancient god had said to have appeared long ago. His wisdom is said to still echo around the lake. Weird acoustics, spatial displacement, and strange ringing noises is said to occur at the spot. There's a large compass cut out into the ground, and some have claimed that if you stand directly in the middle, you can hear echoes and feel strange gravity swells, see shifting visions and of the sort while standing in this location. Things that others around you cannot perceive unless they're standing where you're standing. So only one person can stand here at one time, and only that one person is able to feel these and hear this weird echo and ringing, but it's only in this one location.
It's understandable because if two people were standing in the same spot, then the echoing it would be dampened by the two people.
Yeah, it would have that destabilization of whatever occurrence is happening there. And of course, a lot of people have put in this: is it a slip in space time, portal to another world? You know. So that was one of my favorite ones that I heard. While
that actually sounds cool, and I
want to check it out now because it's not that far away.
Pine Grove,
Pine Bush.
I'm gonna have to check that one out. All right, so what do you got next, Rob?
I've got a couple little creepy tales, maybe to tell you guys.
More local ones.
Yeah, more local stuff. I guess instead of going back to the castle, we'll end with the castle, which was the Psych Center.
Yeah, we did a lot on that one.
And then we'll just put this little, which I thought was just a little weird, and what I really would like to check up on at some point. I'll just read it straight up and see what you guys think.
Is this a different mansion?
What?
That you're going to read now? This is separate from...
No, this is just local lore.
Local lore.
Yeah.
Okay.
Spooky stories.
Gotcha.
This is just local lore. It has nothing to do with ghosts or any shit like that.
No.
Just a weird thing.
Weird happening.
Creepy shit that's happening around
Which, there's some creepy shit that happens.
Wolf job.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so I'll just roll right into it. Here we go.
Did you hear
so
my
this is straight
eyes
up.
roll?
Now, we have a courthouse downtown in Binghamton. And we go back in time to May 18th, 1871, we would be witnesses to the last public hanging in New York State.
Oh.
The person hung was Edward Ruloff.
Yeah, he was on.
Yeah.
I'm like, knock.
What was his name?
Edward Ruloff.
Ruloff. Huh?
Yeah. So I would encourage people to look this up and maybe let us know if this is all just horse shit. Here we go. Edward Ruloff, and by all accounts, he was a well-educated man and considered by many to be a near genius. In fact, according to this article, his brain is on display at Cornell University as of 1970 as the second largest brain on record. So he was sort of a freak.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you have a big head?
I don't know.
I want to go to Cornell and
was
see
he
if
the
their brain's up
leader?
there.
That's a really big head.
It's Krang.
That's awesome!
On with the story.
That would
All
be
right.
pretty fucking cool.
Ruloff is unique because, by all accounts, he was a man who had the ability to succeed in life, through his intellect, but often chose to take a criminal path. At a young age, he served 2 years in jail for embezzlement. But later in life, he would go on to present his theory of language origins, entitled "Method in the Formation of Human Language," which he believed would become the definitive reference book in the field. Later, though, he was accused of beating his wife and daughter to death, as well as poisoning his sister-in-law and niece. He spent some time in prison, but was released on those charges due to a lack of evidence.
He ate it.
Yeah. Ate the evidence?
He ate the
The
evidence.
bodies?
He ate the bodies.
Ate the body. He ate everything.
And chased it with the poison.
Yeah.
He was immune to it.
So he was found guilty of murdering a store clerk. This is why he was being hung, and was sentenced to death. But although it can't be confirmed, our local lore has it that his last words were, "Hurry up! I want to be in hell in time for dinner." So defiant to the end.
That's kind of badass.
That is badass.
That's a badass last line.
That's pretty cool, though.
And hell does have the best catered dinners. I
Do
will
they
say.
have the early bird special?
Every other Sunday.
Sunday.
I mean, that's the thing, though. You know it's good because Leonidas took 300 of his closest friends to go dine there.
Right, yeah,
Right.
exactly.
That's pretty
See?
cool. Great reference, Wave. He got one. He got one.
That's pretty cool. I didn't know about that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got any other local story tales?
Yeah, I just have one. And going back to the castle, the Psych Center, I think I have one more if I can find it now that my shit's all together and I've actually. There it is.
Oh,
okay,
boy.
here we go. Sorry, folks. I'm a little disorganized this evening. I'll just go ahead and straight up read it.
It's the heavy drinking.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the senior moments.
Well, yeah. And by heavy drinking, I mean cough syrup.
Yeah.
Robitussin.
So.
And Dimetap.
Yeah. Can I get to this before I totally, get narcoleptic and fall asleep?
Yeah, that's right. It's
I forgot Dimetap exists.
What do you got?
All right. So will be in reference to the psych center that we talked about a
covered
little bit
earlier.
earlier.
Mhm.
This New York State Inebriate Asylum, or the Castle on the Hill.
Now, speaking of inebriates,
Yeah. This happened in 1993, and this was the recounting of a 13-year-old boy who went to work with his dad. His dad worked for the phone company. Apparently, they were going to put new lines in at the facility, which was still in operation at the time.
he brought his son along with him to do the installation.
It's
Yeah.
take your kid to work day.
Oh, well, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it was probably winter break. You know, he'd probably just stay at home and play himself anyway. So he said, "Why don't you lay some cable with me?"
Yeah.
What
so-
time?
Instead of laying.
There you go.
What era was this?
Would you say 93?
1993, yeah.
1993.
Yeah.
Okay, so they could have went down the road a little bit, and laid some pipe instead.
There's another little, yeah.
By the way, I just did a little research. He definitely wasn't the last man hanged in New York State.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
That would be John Greenwald, and that
It was 2 years ago.
December 6th, 1889.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And when was this guy supposedly hung?
1870.
Okay, so it's kind of close by
Yeah.
in proximity.
And
Well, they didn't have their fill of hanging.
Yeah. Well, it hung as in like Knock was saying, but like actual like
Hanged,
hung by the
actually
neck,
hanged,
hanged
on
by
the
the neck,
gallows.
not like a third leg.
Are you
kinda
on the
thing.
internet porn database?
What was this guy's name again?
The guy that was hung.
Yeah.
It looks like I'm floundering.
Hans
It's
Ruber-
Edward Ruloff.
Edward Ruloff.
Found him. Yep. 18th May 1871. Murder
Okay.
of Frederick Merrick.
There you go.
Fucking Merrick. That guy was a prick anyway.
Right.
Anyway,
Oh, okay, yeah. So they go to the psych center to put some new phone cables in,
Uh-huh.
and this is his recounting. We didn't just work in the building; we worked under the building in the steam tunnels. My first day with my dad, I knew we were going to be in for it. To access the steam tunnels, we had to enter down a manhole in the south yard of the new building. When we pulled the steel manhole cover off, we swear we just release demons or spirits from hell.
now is this the manhole cover you talked about earlier that could go underneath the fence?
This might be because it
I'm
might be in the
wondering,
south
yeah,
yard.
I bet that's the same manhole cover.
Yeah, man.
And that shit, I mean, even just opening that manhole cover, it just feels weird.
You can research that. It's number 2. I think that's where it
That's
starts.
the second one
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Number 2, it's the number that looks like a 2.
Yeah.
Got it.
So I will continue this. We climb down the shaft. Okay.
Boy,
we climb,
this is just turning all sorts of.
we climb down the shaft about 30 or 40 feet to the floor of the tunnel. It was so hot. Woo! Knock,
So hot.
Knock's gonna piss himself.
Just
He's
talk-
holding back.
Just talk about that shaft.
Yeah, right? The floor, it was so hot that we stripped off our overalls
What story is this?
and began to install the new lines. About 3 hours of work, we came to a crawl space that was made of very old brick. The crawl space was about 3 by 4 feet with an arched ceiling that was about 10 feet long. My father shined his flashlight into the dark and said, "The blueprints say this is the way to go, son.
Oh.
So this is the way we go." He went through first, and I followed right behind him. As I was about 2 feet into the crawl space, I heard laughter behind me like 2 little girls, and then the old bricks in the ceiling started to give way as I was about halfway through. My father reached out and grabbed me and pulled me through as the crawl space collapsed behind us. We were in total darkness other than the dim light from my father's flashlight that shined through the dust from the collapse. We were now in a very old section of the steam tunnels from the 1800s. After walking a while in the pitch dark, we found a metal ladder that went up through a shaft and on a manhole cover on the eastern side of the yard of the old castle. So that's their harrowing tale.
That is pretty creepy. And I wouldn't doubt it with the weird shit that went down. That was the one that was in 93.
Yeah.
So yeah, long after all that
Buy anything?
shit went down. No, that was interesting. I'll have to
Oh.
look that up a little bit later
Oh.
too.
I also found I didn't look into the other guys that got. I'm still on.
Yeah, no, that's
on
fine.
Edward here.
Not the
Edward Roll.
final guy. Right?
That appear. It may be because I noticed that the line was in his personal Wikipedia thing about it says last public hanging.
Yeah.
So the
Okay.
other guys who were because there's a good 18 years of hangings after that.
Yeah.
but they might not have been. They may have been private.
It might have been
and-
in a jailhouse.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
So
well, I
that-
said public
that may-
hanging, didn't
Yeah,
you?
you
okay.
did. So
We
that
were
may
just
have been
looking
the
for a little bit more of clarification. That's all.
Okay.
Look, I like to know about my hangings. Okay.
We actually did do a next step research. The guy did exist. He was the last public hanged man.
Publicly hanged.